Broadcasting Studio 24 in California, the entertainment capital of the world, featuring Dr. Jeremy Brooks. It's the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks. And now, your host, Jeremy Brooks.
Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks. We are live in Studio 24, Brooks Broadcasting, and we are very excited because we have a special episode today. We've got an incredible guest who is joining us. We've got John Morris in the studio. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
We are so excited to have you here, and this is going to be a fantastic show. Before we really kind of dive in, we just want to thank our 1.5 million viewers from around the world, from 47 plus countries who tune in and support the show. And I just want to remind you real quick to make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And here's the deal. If you comment and we read your questions out over the air, your comments, and if they get answered, guess what? You're going to be entered in a drawing or a raffle to get an autograph from our fabulous guest today.
Nice.
So we're excited about that. So make sure to comment, and they'll let us know what you have to say, and we'll try to include those in the show. But without further ado, we want to dive in. This is going to be fun. So John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So thank you so much for having me here. I am a professional actor, professional voice actor. I've been a professional voice actor since I was 6 years old, and now I'm 41. So quite a while, over 35 years. And I am, my sort of biggest roles have been, which I know we'll talk about, Andy in the Toy Story franchise, Santa Boy in The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Pepperoni in Lego Island. I've also done a lot of other projects and commercials and things. And I have a few projects coming up, maybe we'll talk about too. But those are kind of my main roles.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And I mean, gosh, so many fans out there. So many people grew up with Toy Story.
Yeah.
And of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. Did you have any idea at 6 years old what you were getting yourself into?
No, you know, I always tell people that Toy Story specifically started very small for me. You know, I had the audition, and then the callback and everything, and then I was cast, which I was so excited about.
Yeah.
But it really was just me in the booth with the director and the writers and the producer.
Yeah.
You know, just a small group of us. So until I saw, you know, the marketing and the billboards and, you know, the giant posters on buses and things, and the fact that Tom Hanks and Tim Allen were going to be in it, then it got a lot bigger.
That's when you knew. Yeah. And okay, so you're 6 years old. So, I mean, you probably were aware of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen back then. I mean, he did the Santa Claus movie.
Yeah.
And I remember, gosh, Tom Hanks, I think this is pretty early on, but he did the Turner and Hooch movies.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, did you know as a young child, like kind of how amazing it was going to be to work with these actors?
Yeah. So I grew up kind of watching specifically Tom Hanks movies with my grandparents. So, you know, Forrest Gump and The Money Pit and then later, you know, Castaway and other lots of other films, Big. And so I was familiar with him and that he was a movie star. Wow. And I was just so excited when I heard that he was going to be Woody. And I think he's the perfect Woody. I think Tim Allen is the perfect Buzz. And so I was super excited, but it didn't really dawn on me until, you know, the premiere and I started to see all that marketing.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is global, you know?
And the amazing thing is, I mean, it's typically what you kind of see is maybe a child might be cast for this role, but then, and we've even seen this with like the Vacation series movies.
Yeah.
Where they'll change actors, but you got to grow up and you grew up with the movie. So you played Andy, you got to be there as a child. And then all the way to, I mean, well, in the last movie, Andy gives away his toys.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to be there for all of that.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that the timing worked out perfectly for me because the the first three films specifically more or less go in real time in a sense. And so it worked. I mean, I've always been a little bit older than Andy in real life.
Yeah.
But it worked for me because I have some kind of youth in my voice. I could still voice him, and I could also draw on my experiences, which was especially useful for Toy Story 3 because he was off to college and I was out of college.
That's right.
So I knew what that was.
Yeah.
And the director, you know, and I really worked on that. Like, what was that was like packing up your room and,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah. So you really had a sense of, I mean, so some people, I think some actors, they kind of have to study the character, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But you were going through those stages in your own life. So you got to bring that authenticity to it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure really added to the role, of course, the character that you played, and just made it so much better.
Right. Yes. Thank you. So the directors always talked about, you know, how much Andy loves his toys and that they're like best friends of his.
Yeah.
So I knew what that was because of the toys that I grew up and played with.
Yeah.
And then they would help me along. Like, you know, they showed me storyboards and character drawings. Sometimes there would be toys in the booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could see them, play with them. And also, you know, they always talked about how Andy's so warm and has a good heart. And so I tried to think about that too and channel that.
And it really did come across, I think, in all of them.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to ask you too, and we didn't have this listed, but did you have a favorite toy growing up yourself? Like a real favorite toy? Any?
Yeah. So I played with a lot of X-Men action figures.
Okay.
Some of which I still have. And Ninja Turtles. And then I had this toy or this doll called My Buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like kind of life size. So I'd bring him around. So I knew what that was, like with this kind of having like a Woody, but then like you get a new Buzz. I knew what that kind of, you know, that was to get new toys at the holidays and things or for a birthday. And actually there's kind of a fun story with how I was cast. So I was, you know, 7 years old. I took this acting workshop when I was 6 years old, Kids on Camera. And then from that, I got an agent. I started auditioning for things. I got the audition for Andy when I was 7. They said to bring our favorite toy to the audition.
Oh.
And so I brought my whole case of X-Men action figures.
Wow.
And my mom said, okay, pick one from the box.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, no, I have to bring them all.
Oh.
Because I can't pick just one.
Yeah.
And they're all like a set.
Yeah.
You know, so I brought them all. And then the Pixar team, they're kind of laughed because I didn't really follow the instructions. I brought all my toys.
Yeah.
And then I was playing with them and creating the voices, you know, for Wolverine and Professor X. And then, you know, they later said, okay, that's, you know, how Andy plays with his toys.
Wow.
Like he's immersive and imaginative and he creates the voices.
Yeah.
So then with the callbacks, you know, I read from the script and everything and it sort of just got closer and closer and closer. Then finally it was just a few kids and me. And then finally I was the lucky one. And they said, it's like the way you play with your toys is the way we envision Andy. And then they said there was kind of like a warmth to my voice that they liked for Andy. And yeah.
Well, and what I love is that you couldn't decide. You brought all your toys.
Yeah. And it was memorable because I had all my toys, you know, from that set. And they talked about that. Like that stood out in a good way for them.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think that me and you shared an interest in toys because here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're not too much older than me. So we're close in age.
Yeah. Nice.
And
Similar,
so when you mentioned Ninja Turtles, I mean, that was, you know, of course, you know, very hot when I was a kid.
Totally. The van.
Yes.
Yeah.
Batman, though, was like one of my big ones.
Totally. Nice.
And so that's awesome. And I wanted to ask you too, so what was it like maybe kind of, again, coming back so you do Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
What was it like coming back again for the other Toy Story movies?
Yeah.
Did it feel different as you were getting older? And yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, I was always so excited when I heard they were going to make another one.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just, for Andy, I've just always had to think a little bit younger, you know, so I just had to think a little younger, sound a little younger to step into his shoes. And for me, the benefit of like the third one was I had more acting training.
Yeah.
So especially for that final scene that's pretty emotional.
Oh, yeah.
With him and Bonnie, and a lot of fans tell me that's the scene that makes them cry. You know, I needed to have the acting experience to be able to personalize that. And I did have the acting experience because I went to UCLA for acting.
Oh, nice.
And so at that point I could, you know, when the director Leon Critch said to me, like, I really need you to personalize this.
Yeah.
I knew what that meant.
So what was that scene like for you, and just for our viewers who, you know, we have everybody has seen, it seems like, Toy Story.
Yeah.
But for the ones that kind of don't, maybe they're not familiar with that scene, could you kind of walk us through it? Because I think what you're talking about, that's the scene where he's giving his toys to is it the neighbor?
Yeah, so to Bonnie, she's kind of like a neighbor, like a family friend, and he makes the generous, you know, which is very Andy, the generous, you know, choice and decision to kind of, you know, pass his toys down to her.
Yeah,
and so to kind of like pass the baton, and so the way the director Leon Critch talked about it was, he said, you know, it's like Andy is saying goodbye to, you know, these very close friends of his.
Yeah.
He's saying goodbye to his childhood, and he's not necessarily going to see them again.
Yeah.
So think about a time in your life that you've said goodbye to someone or something, and you're not going to see it again.
Wow.
So that was the personalization. And it was very emotional. I mean, I'm a little emotional talking about it. Like, I had tears, you know, recording it, and then the way they brought it together with the visuals and the music. And I mean, I still cry watching it.
Oh, yeah.
My family still cries watching it, because it's so beautifully done.
It really is. It's such a beautiful scene, as you said.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting part there. Woody doesn't want to leave. I think he doesn't. It's almost like, I think he's intending on staying, but he does go, right?
Yeah. And there's that scene too, the part of the scene where Bonnie says, "My cowboy," and then Andy is like, "Woody? Like, what's he doing here?"
Yeah.
And then she reaches for Woody, and Andy pulls him back.
Yeah.
Because he needs a moment.
Wow.
You know, and he's like, "Well, wait a minute." And then he has those beautiful lines about Woody and how he feels about Woody, and because he's, you know, really telling Bonnie, like, this is important, that, you know, I'm giving these to you and I need you to take care of them, you know? Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do telling a story with the magic of cinema and all of those key pieces, and how beautiful that can be, and how it can connect. People can connect with it all over the world.
Yeah.
I imagine, you know, you've been pretty busy though too. You travel, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm lucky, that I get to travel around the U.S. and now outside the U.S. to events. I was just in Scotland. I'm going to be in Ireland. I go to the Midwest and Texas, and I love it because, you know, you hear these statistics like billions of people have seen the films, and it's incredible, but it's kind of overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
And then I get to meet individuals and families and hear their Toy Stories, you know, and it's like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite character? And I love to talk to kids about that, and adults, and everyone has a favorite, or they like them all the same, or everyone has a different answer.
And
you know?
do you have a particular moment that stands out for you where you talked to a fan who was excited to meet you, that shared a story with you about their toys or anything like that?
Yeah, so a lot of people, I think what the stories that really touch me are when like kids or families talk about like how the films got them through a difficult time.
Yeah.
Whether that was like medical or personal, or that they were really like an anchor for them. Recently, I was at an event in San Antonio, Texas, and a woman came up who was blind, and she recognized my voice.
Oh.
And so she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Andy."
Yeah.
You know, because for her, of course, it's all about the voice and the sound. And so that was really meaningful, and kind of a new experience for me. And she was just like, "I can't believe I'm talking to Andy," you know? And so there are these very, very special moments. And also to me, it's important to be there to give them a special moment, and to sign something for them that they can put on their wall, and they can kind of treasure. You know, not all actors, you know, kind of attend these events, and to me, it's important to be accessible.
Yes.
And so that they can connect with Andy and connect to the movies.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, just you got to work with some incredible actors and some
Yeah.
incredible people over the years. Do you have any particular moments that stand out that you can share with our audience regarding maybe working with Tim Allen or Tom Hanks? Were you you had to have been a fan right?
Yeah, I was totally a fan. And I mean, I have a lot of stories, so I'll try to just pick a few. But so we recorded individually, but then at the premieres, I got to meet them. And so basically, they both had a similar response. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. It's like, oh, so you're Andy. Like a boy had to voice Andy, and you're the one. You know, so that was kind of a nice. And I just told them like, oh, you're such a great Woody, you're such a great Buzz, and they were like, thank you. And so, and then I've been able to talk with Tom Hanks a few times at the premieres, a little bit more than Tim Allen, and so just telling him, just connecting with him, kind of Andy to Woody, which is really nice. And then at the Toy Story 4 premiere, I got to meet. I was on the red carpet walking down the press line, and then next to me was Keanu Reeves.
Wow.
So I got to talk with him.
Yeah.
I'm also a Matrix fan.
Yes.
So it's like talking to Neo. It was very cool. I see why he was cast at as Neo because he's like Neo.
Yeah.
His energy. And I said, oh, you're so great as Duke Kaboom. And, so we had a nice exchange, and he was like, oh, so you're Andy. And, and I've got to attend a lot of exciting events like with, like the Disney princesses, Jodie Benson, voice of Ariel, but also voice of Barbie. So we have that in common with the Toy Story franchise. And then Paige O'Hara, voice of Belle, Linda Larkin, voice of Princess Jasmine. I grew up watching those on VHS with my younger sibling. So I've had some really special moments.
I got to say, my wife is a huge fan of all those people you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So she's probably in the control room right now saying, just so excited.
And it's so sweet to see like little kids, especially little girls, dressed up as princesses, meeting their favorite princess. It's really heartwarming, to be at those events.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, so I think there's a picture of you we shared when we, contacted each other.
Yeah.
And you sent me a picture of you at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I want to go to Disneyland with that guy. Like,
yeah,
you're probably
we should go.
When you go to Disneyland, you're probably like just the coolest person.
Oh,
Do you get people that come up to you and they're excited to see you?
Well, it's so funny. Yes, we definitely should go to Disneyland.
Yes.
So
we're gonna book that.
yeah, I'd love to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Disneyland.
Yeah.
So it's funny as a voice actor, you can kind of fly under the radar when you want to. But that being said, in those instances, like I was there in December with friends of mine, Pixar pals, Mary Gibbs, the voice of Boo in Monsters Inc., and then Emily Ricks, the voice of Bonnie in Toy Story 3.
Oh, wow.
And so we were together, and then we had someone with us, and so they kind of told, like we saw Woody and Jesse in Frontierland.
Yeah.
And so they kind of told them who we were, and then they were like, oh my gosh, and we were taking pictures and everything. So once people know, they get really excited.
I bet they were so excited.
Yeah, but I mean, like when I'm in the airport or something, I can kind of fly under the radar unless I'm talking with someone and they're a huge Toy Story fan and they're like, you sound like Andy, which has happened. Something like that. But it's interesting. And Disneyland is so much fun, and Pixar Pier, and you really feel like you're at the source, in a sense. Yeah.
Well, and I got to ask you, you must have been to Disney World where they have the Toy Story Land, right?
Yeah. Well, that was really surreal.
Yeah. What is it like seeing all of that for the first time?
Yeah. So awesome. And the way they have it, it's like you're almost in like Andy's backyard with the big shoe prints. And that was so surreal. And so much fun. I was lucky enough that I got like a VIP tour and I got to, ride all the rides and Slinky Dog Dash and it just is so immersive.
Were you there when they opened it up? You had to be.
I think I was there shortly after.
Okay. Yeah.
I still haven't gone to the barbecue restaurant that opened, which I need to, so I need to go back. But we went to Woody's Lunchbox and it felt like I was immersed in the world that I love, so.
And that's the amazing thing I think about what Disney does with Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
But you know, and then just kind of going back to the Toy Story land, it's like,
Right.
you know, imagining how the Imagineers decided to build that and put that together.
Yeah.
And then to see it with the giant statues and the rides
Yeah.
and the Slinky Dog ride.
Yeah, I know. It's similar with, you know, the Disney Imagineers and the Pixar creative team. So much creativity, so much imagination. And I just think they are all top notch.
Yeah.
And we're all just so lucky to experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Good stuff. And so I wanted to talk to you too about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Because that is just, you know, getting to work with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Such an amazing director.
Yeah.
Very eclectic. Really,
Yeah.
some of the most iconic, you know, films. And
Right.
but you know, you go to Disneyland, by the way, during the holiday season,
Yeah.
and I think that's the big attraction for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Haunted
and
Mansion.
Haunted Mansion and
the
all
kind
that.
of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. And
Yes.
yeah. It's incredible. So what typically happens at events is, you know, I'm sort of known for Andy, and that's how they kind of market me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Andy's coming, or come meet Andy, or, you know, sort of thing.
This is what we did too.
Yeah. But then people get to my table and they say, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you were in the Nightmare Before Christmas? And they get really excited because that has a huge fandom.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, over time, it's almost developed more. And now there's a lot of merch and a lot of interest.
It really is interesting. I think
Yeah.
I totally see that too, that over time
Yeah.
there's been, and I don't know if that's necessarily common for films to do that, but that's how iconic it is.
It kind of had this cult following for a long
Yeah.
time because people are always amazed. Like, it came out in 1993, like a long time ago.
yeah.
But it just has such this following because it's very Tim Burton. It's very, you know, kind of iconic with his style. And the funny thing for me is I just worked on that project for one day
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
Wow.
Tim Burton was there, and then the director Henry Selick, of course.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of us kids,
Yeah.
you know, doing kind of like the additional voices, like screaming and running up and down the stairs and opening packages and stuff. And then they liked the texture in my voice, and so they pulled me out to voice Santa Boy.
Yeah.
In the scene with Jack, and he just has a few lines. You know, he just goes, Santa, Santa, and he like runs down the stairs, and but just that experience, you know, stays with me because we got to see the models, which were very small, you know, and they said, like, you can look, but don't touch, keep your hands behind your back, you know, because they're so fragile, of course, and the artists have worked so hard on them. But it was just so cool to be in the presence of Tim Burton. And,
Yeah.
you know, people ask me what he's like, and he's kind of how you would imagine, like this sort of creative mad scientist
Wow.
type.
Yeah.
Because look at the worlds he creates. And I've also been lucky enough to do events with Chris Sarandon, who voices Jack Skellington.
Wow.
And of course, sadly, we lost Ken Page, Oogie Boogie, and Catherine O'Hara
Yeah.
recently. And I never got a chance to meet them, which I'm sad about. But of course, they did such brilliant work as those characters. And so and I got to reminisce when I saw Chris recently about Ken and Catherine. So it's this kind of fandom that keeps going.
Yeah. And it's when you think about the Nightmare Before Christmas, it's an interesting sort of movie because you have fans that are very specifically they love Jack Skellington,
Right.
Or they love Oogie Boogie, or they
Right.
you know you see
or
that.
Zero. We were
Or
talking about Zero
yes.
earlier. Yeah. And I hear these really fun things from fans, like you know, they'll have like a guest room and it's all decorated as Nightmare Before Christmas, and they'll show me a picture of it. Or a lot of folks will like decorate for Halloween and then just keep it through Christmas because it's the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Smart.
And they say, I just added a Santa hat to Jack and now we're good. You know, so it's just, I love the creativity. And then some people say, I watch it year round. I don't care. You know, so it's fun, which is
really
what
is.
it's all about, you know, like having fun and being creative.
Yeah. Do you have any? So did you do that film, by the way, first and then Toy Story?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I was cast as Andy like around 1991.
Oh, okay.
And then I worked on that for just one day, like in 1992.
Yeah.
But I was also recording Andy. And then Toy Story came out in 1995. So it was just kind of around the same time, like early 90s. And I also, was watching all those Disney movies on VHS. So that was kind of feeding my creativity too. Yeah.
And did you have, growing up, did you have a favorite Disney besides, and by the way, some people, they say, oh, I have a hard time seeing myself in film. Do you experience that? And also, just another side question, did you have a favorite cartoon growing up?
Yeah. So the only time it's hard for me, I think, is at the premiere.
Yeah.
Because it's just so big and loud, and especially like Andy, Andy is the first voice we hear in Toy Story. And so I remember just being in the theater, and I was kind of in the middle of the theater with my family, and then it's his first line, like, all right, everyone, this is a stick up. Don't anybody move. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. And it's so loud. And, but I love watching the films. Sometimes people want to watch them with me, and I have fun doing that. And so now I'm used to it. But at first, and then to answer your other question, it's hard to pick just one, but the movies my younger sibling and I watched growing up on VHS were definitely like Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Pocahontas, and The Little Mermaid. So I think those five,
classics.
because it was like the 90s Disney.
Yeah.
And so those are really the five that stick out because we would watch them on repeat. And sometimes we would watch it and then we would just watch it again.
Yes, yes.
And, my mom would be like, you just watch that. It's like, well, we need to just watch it one more time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, because it's just so good.
Oh.
And so, so I think those five were kind of the ones that I grew up watching. And it's hard to pick one favorite of them. And then I had my own moment, like I was talking about the Disney princesses earlier, when I met them, they're formative for me.
Oh, yeah.
And so it just was really special to meet them. And especially, like Linda Larkin sounds exactly like Princess Jasmine still.
Wow.
So when she talks to you, it's like Princess Jasmine is talking to you, which is a little surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost have to probably step back and pinch yourself and say,
Yeah.
this is real life.
I'm just like, oh
I'm
my
not
gosh, I
in
get to do this
yeah.
event with Princess Jasmine and Belle and Ariel and Barbie. And it's, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to ask you, so you mentioned you have a sibling.
Yeah.
Did they get into acting at all? Any interest there?
So they're actually a letterpress printer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the arts have always been really supported in my family.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky that, my parents, my grandparents always supported the arts, encouraged us to do it. We always wanted to do it, and then they encouraged us. So that was really important. And we're lucky that the schools we went to also really supported the arts and were strong in the arts. For me, specifically theater and acting. And so we're all creative in some way, shape, or form. My grandmother was a concert pianist.
Wow.
So she had that kind of creativity and arts in her life. And so it's always been present, and it's still present. Yeah.
And you talked about going to UCLA, which that's the big school besides NYU.
Yeah.
I would say, UCLA, that's one of the big schools that a lot of people aspire, want to go to.
Yeah.
What was it like going there to getting accepted? And of course, attending that school, you'd already had experience in films. Did you learn a lot of extra things that I imagine you did, right?
Yeah, so I went for acting and musical theater. And so I, worked on my singing, I worked on my acting, I worked on dance. I definitely with the acting piece, I definitely played characters that were new for me, different kinds of theater, different kinds of monologues. I took a Shakespeare class there, which was very enriching and challenging. So it definitely broadened my horizons. And then, like I said with Toy Story 3, when the director said, okay, you need to personalize this, it's like, okay, I had done that in class. So I knew what that was. Yeah.
Well, and the interesting thing too is I think a lot of people don't understand just how difficult musical theater is.
Yeah.
Because you have, your acting degrees that you could earn, but musical theater is an extra element.
Right.
So it does
Yeah.
incorporate, as you mentioned, the dancing, the singing.
Yeah,
Not
they talk
easy.
about they talk about being like a triple threat. So
Yep.
it's like strong in acting, strong in singing, strong in dance simultaneously. So it is very challenging. And I went sort of more the voice acting route after. I did go to New York. I moved to New York after UCLA, and I did some of those Broadway auditions and
Yeah.
things, and they were epic. I mean,
Yeah.
they were challenging. And
Would you see yourself doing a Broadway play maybe someday?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I have, some ideas about even doing like a one-man show, and it could be about my experience growing up. It could maybe be called Boy Story
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I have some kind of ideas around that. I don't know if I would ever. I have a lot of respect for those who perform in musicals.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's still for me, but
Yeah.
maybe.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when you see like the musicals.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. The dance,
It's athletic. I mean, it's yeah.
the choreography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All of that. Yeah.
One of the interesting things too, maybe a few more questions about Toy Story is just the cast list has sort of grown over the years too.
Yeah.
We see new characters added over time. Forky, right?
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
characters. Want to share? What has it been like to see the evolution of it over time?
Yeah. Great question. So a lot of fans ask me like, what's your favorite movie or, how do you feel about the movies, going on? And now there's going to be Toy Story 5 and everything. I am just excited about it because to me, the world just keeps growing and that's exciting. And in Toy Story 5, there are new toys, and some are, seem a little, maybe they have a villainous streak to them, but it's interesting. So I love that the world just keeps expanding. I look at it as, kind of like the first 3 films, it's almost like Andy's chapter.
Yeah.
And now it's really Bonnie's chapter. And then we'll see what happens because Andrew Stanton, the director of Toy Story 5, just said, that they may go on to Toy Story 6 and 7. So we'll see what that looks like.
And I could see
too.
it because the
Yeah.
love of the film, I think,
Yeah.
continues to capture the hearts of generations. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not just us, 90s children, right?
Right.
It's-
Yeah, it's absolutely multi-generational. I mean, all the time at events, I'll see a family come up with a stroller.
Yeah.
And it's like the parents are in their 30s or 40s. They grew up with it. And now their kids are watching it. And then the grandparents have watched it.
Yes.
And that, that's one of my favorite aspects about it, that it's multi-generational.
And it's such a brilliant story, too, because everybody can connect with this idea of toys, right? I mean, toys are a part of our lives growing up.
Right.
And,
right.
of course, depending on where you're from around the world, toys can be different things, but
Right.
it could be a musical instrument. There's so many different versions of toys.
Right.
But I mean, that's something that everybody resonates with everybody.
Absolutely. And it's so smart now that they're looking at toys versus tech because a lot of kids are on screens, as we know. I travel a lot on planes. They're on iPads and tablets, just like Bonnie in Toy Story 5. And it's very timely
Yeah.
what they're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
And with all of us with screens and
that's going to be, we'll see, I guess the film's coming out next month.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to see more about that.
yeah.
But that's, I think, from the previews that have come out that have been released, that's
Right.
going to be maybe a focus of the film, right?
Yeah.
Is
Kids
the
on
tech,
screens.
yeah.
All of us on screens, which we also saw in Wall-E, and other films. And then it looks like with Toy Story 5, Jessie is really taking center stage. And I feel like it's kind of her time, because we've focused a lot, of course, on Woody and Buzz and Bo Peep in 4. And so now with 5, it's, going to be kind of Jessie focused, which I think is great. And so I can't wait. I mean, I'm really excited to see it. I will say I know some people who have seen it. And of course, I can't give away any spoilers or anything,
Yeah.
but they said it was excellent.
Wow.
So
are you able
yeah.
to say if you're in the film or not?
So I will say it focuses mostly on Bonnie.
Yeah.
My hope is that we do see Andy as an adult
Yes.
at some point. If it's not 5, then maybe it's 6 or 7. Mainly because of what I've heard from the fans.
Yes.
Of course, I would love to come back and voice him. I have heard from literally every person who's come up to my table. They have a lot of questions like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, what did Andy study in college? What's he like as an adult? Does he have kids? Does he have Andy Jr.? You know, so there are a lot of questions. And
Yeah.
so I hope that those questions are answered for the fans.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the interesting thing too, though, about toys
Yeah.
is that we see a lot of young people, well, young adults,
Yeah.
and just older adults too, who today enjoy toys. They make
Yeah.
toys, they go to the Comic Cons, they
Yeah.
dress up,
Yeah.
and so toys are still a big part of people's lives. And I think that that's becoming something where, you know, maybe in years past wouldn't have been traditional, but today
Right.
we see that.
Right.
And so I could totally see, you know, the expansion of this series, bringing back Andy as an
Yeah.
adult,
Yeah.
you know, utilizing toys, and because they bring joy to even adults who collect them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, I hear from fans too, especially those who grew up with the films like in their 30s and 40s. They say for them, for Andy to come back as an adult, the entire series would come full circle. You know, because it started with Andy. So it started with Andy, and then, and there are all these incredible fan theories I've heard from fans. You know, like we know the toys can talk to humans
Yeah.
because Woody scares Sid at the end of Toy Story. So, you know, fans have said to me, what if Woody comes to life and talks with Andy, but Andy isn't scared and they have a heart to heart? And I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I think if Andy saw that maybe some of the toys were missing, then maybe he would want to find them. So maybe
Yeah.
there's a premise there. You know, I mean, it could go in any number of directions. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to share real quick. We got comments rolling in.
Oh, great.
So one of the comments we have is from an author who's been on our show. He's written a children's book
Oh, nice.
called Sparkle and Shine.
Uh-huh.
And it's Dr. Rob Martinez.
Great.
But he asked, his question for you was just what age would Andy be if maybe he was in this next series? Or
Right.
there's maybe, I think there's another question. Maybe we can get it back.
Yeah.
But there's been questions rolling in. So
Great.
if Andy was in Toy Story, the new one,
Yeah.
how old do you think he might be?
So we'll just do a little math. So if in 2010 he was 17 and it's going in real time, more or less, this would be 16 years later.
Okay.
So then 16 plus 17 is 33, I want to say.
That sounds about right.
Okay, yes. So Andy would be around 33.
Yeah.
So then if he comes back in 5, he'd be around 33. If it's 6 or 7, maybe he's 35 or
Yeah.
even 40. So that is an age to have children.
Yeah.
You know.
But again,
yeah.
you know, we see again, if you go to a Comic-Con event,
Yeah.
there are plenty of adults that enjoy toys even today.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've heard just again such great ideas. Like one fan said to me, okay, Andy has Andy Jr. and then maybe Bonnie babysits, you know, for
Yeah.
the kids, and because we know she's kind of a family friend, and you know, it's like, yeah.
And real quick, I just want to mention
Mm-hmm.
that question on the age came from Michael Hines, who we know he's our director for our show for a long time, but he helped to put us in touch.
Yes, thank
And
you, Michael.
Yes, thank you, Michael. And thank you for the question, and keep the questions rolling in. Dr. Rob, maybe we can get his question back, but there was a question that he had. Oh, he'd commented that he played with Marvels at a young age.
Oh, nice.
Any connection there for you too? Did you
Yeah.
get to play with those at all?
yeah.
Oh, marbles. Sorry, marbles.
Oh, marbles.
Marbles.
Got it. Marbles, not Marvels. Yes, I was like Marvels, X-Men. Yeah.
yeah.
Marbles, you know, I never got into marbles, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're very interesting looking. When I think of marbles, I actually think of Peter Pan.
Yeah,
Because there's the character who's always looking for his marbles.
that's right.
That's like where my
Yeah.
mind goes as a Disney fan, as
Yeah.
a Disney Pixar fan. But that's cool. See, I love that everyone has those things that they collected or those
Right.
things that they still collect.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting,
So
you know?
I got to ask you, there's interesting things regarding toys. Sometimes there's
Yeah.
some fads, different toys that come
Yeah.
about. Did you ever
Yeah.
play, I think you're about around this age, did you ever play with Pogs?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely Pogs, definitely Hacky Sack.
Pogs are making a comeback.
They
I
are
think.
making a comeback.
Yeah.
And then the Tamagotchis came out, the Furbies came out.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's funny. I remember kind of being interested in them, but then you had like your tried and true things, you know. The Funko Pops, here's Andy over here. We were talking about him earlier
Yes.
off camera, but so this Andy Funko Pop came out last July in honor of the 30th anniversary of Toy Story. And I'm funny with Funko Pops in that I collect them, but I take them out of the boxes because, you know, I like to play with them and turn their heads and put them on the shelves and stuff. I know a lot of people keep them in the box and they have them signed and everything.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it? So this is, by the way, I want to say he sounds just like you.
Oh, good. Perfect.
But,
Yes.
So he has some toys. Can you tell us about
Yeah,
that?
he's holding Woody and Buzz. And if you look closely, I mean, the detail is incredible.
Yeah.
With the Woody and Buzz. They must use like the smallest paintbrush in the world. But, you know, I love how he can turn his head and he's sitting cross-legged, kind of yoga style, I guess, with his favorite toys. And I just think they did such a good job. He has his classic shirt on and his red hat, which of course Jesse has the red hat too. So I love what they did.
Funko Pops are great, and we see that is one of those toys that a lot of kids play with, but they're very collectible too.
Yeah. So sometimes people tell me that they'll like have a celebrity or a voice actor sign the box, and then they'll take out the Funko and put it in front of the box.
Oh,
So they still have the signature protected, but then they can kind of turn the head and things. So it's interesting what people do. Yeah.
so I got to ask you too. So having your own toy, what is that like?
It's awesome. I mean, my fingers were crossed for a long time that they were going to make an Andy because I used to just sign, and I still do, sign the toys.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would sign Woody and Buzz and Bullseye and Slinky Dog, etc. But yeah, I got really excited because now fans can have Andy signed by Andy.
Oh.
So that's what I always say at events, like, if you want Andy signed by Andy, I have some Funkos.
And I got to ask you this question too, because for those folks that are at home that are wondering, I mean, if you have your own toy, do you have maybe one or two of them? How many do you have?
Oh, I have like hundreds because mainly I don't want to run out for events. So because not everyone can get their hands on the Andy before they see me at the event.
Yeah.
So I like to have some at the event.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I do sell out because, you know, there are only so many I can bring. But I have quite a few because I don't want to run out.
Well, I'm jealous because I wish I would have brought an Andy Funko Pop.
Next time.
Time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have, are we able to talk about that right there?
Yeah, so this is the Pixar ball, and it's become something that I travel with and I bring to events. I take photos with it. You know, it's part of the Pixar logo. This ball is special because it's from the Pixar Studios store. So there's a store inside of Pixar.
Wow.
And that's where it's from.
I'm going to that store right after this.
Okay, great.
I'm just playing.
Yeah,
Is it
so
open?
it's-
Is this store open to the public?
So I wish it was, but unfortunately it's not. So you have
Darn
to,
it.
I mean, so you have to be on a Pixar tour inside. You have to be inside the Willy Wonka factory to go to the store. So it's mainly for employees and visitors of the studio. And so, you know, when I was there, I bought a few of them because it's a very special.
Oh, yeah.
You can also get this ball at Disneyland. It's a little bit bigger. This one's smaller, but you know, I know some folks have gotten it there too.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the different sizes. So there's that size.
Yeah.
Which I like that size, by the way.
Yeah, there's this size, easy to travel with. Then the one at Disneyland. There is a large one that I have from the Pixar Studio store too in my room.
Yeah.
But I don't travel with it.
I want to ask you too real quick. Do you have a particular doll that goes like everywhere with you?
Well, I always bring Andy and I always bring the ball. I used to bring around Woody and Buzz, but then I was nervous kind of traveling with them and I didn't want to get scratched up. So now I leave them at home. But
Do you have any favorites as an adult from any favorite like I don't know, things that you've collected yourself, maybe like a script or maybe like a memento that you're like, there's a prized possession from those experiences?
Yes. So I do have the scripts. I have the scripts signed by the creative team.
Wow.
So that's really special, of course. And then Disney and Pixar have always been really generous with sending me incredible things. I do have a 20-year anniversary statue that's bronze. That's the alien that's honoring the 20th anniversary of Toy Story. So I have that on my desk. That's very special. And then I do collect Funko Pops, mainly Toy Story and The Nightmare Before Christmas, surprise, surprise, and some Disney ones. I do take them out of the box. So I like to line them on the shelves, just as is. And so I can turn the heads and things.
Oh, that's neat.
And some people are going to go, what? But I actually just recycle the boxes because I don't have people sign them. So I like the object. Yeah.
That's amazing. I was just told we have 15 minutes left. So
Okay,
what
great.
I better do is look at those questions.
Okay,
We're just
very
having
good,
so much
very
fun
good.
here. We're kind of free flowing.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, I do want to back up because there was a comment that somebody mentioned that they do have a Funko Pop, but it's a Walt Funko Pop, and maybe have you
nice.
seen those?
Yeah, I just saw those actually. I was in San Antonio at Hodgepodge Tastic, which is a huge Funko store. And I saw 2 Walts there. I think it was a black and white Walt, like holding Mickey.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And I
super creative. Yeah.
I love that. And I think the one that was mentioned is maybe it's a fire engine, a Walt, and a Mickey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Walt loved fire engines, and then there's the station at Disneyland. Yeah, so they're so creative. I mean, I recently looked it up. There are like 23,000 Funko Pops, which is sort of overwhelming.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And another thing too, Walt, besides fire engines, he loved. Well, I want to share this. He loved trains.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
We actually got to do the last time we were there, go behind the scenes, and we got to
nice.
do the Lily Bell. We rode in the Lily Bell.
Oh, nice.
Which is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved trains. That's right. And there's the train at Disneyland, and then there's Walt's apartment at Disneyland too.
Yep.
Which is
I
pretty
was gonna
special.
go to that.
Yeah.
I ended up getting sick. My family went,
yeah.
and they had the best time.
Oh,
I saw the
yeah.
pictures afterwards.
Yeah,
so
next time.
I'm jealous.
We got to go back.
Hey, we will.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about education.
Yeah, great.
Because, of course, we're an education show as well.
Yes.
And, I mean, you've been a part of stories that have shaped childhood.
Yeah.
How do you see storytelling connecting to education?
I think it's really important because strong storytelling is at the heart of every Pixar film. And really every good story has this strong story at its heart with characters and messages and themes and morals. And so I think that storytelling and creativity early on for kids is so important.
Yes.
And whenever I teach voiceover, and whenever I teach, especially kids, students, I talk about storytelling and creativity and play.
Wow. Yes.
As being really important.
Well, I love that too, because play is so critical. I've said that many times. I talked to Monica Potter about play.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing when it comes to play, we need to create more opportunities for our children to do that. Sometimes we're so busy with like a structured schedule of you have to do this after school program, or we have this sport, we have, and there's other elements of play too in that regard, but just allowing children to be present with their toys and to play. There's so much that you get from that. And like you talked about as a kid, doing the different voices and the different characters.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of joke, but it's true that I prepared for the role of Andy by playing in my room. But it's true, like having that kind of imagination and creativity. And I agree with you. I think it's so important to have those outlets for kids and students.
Yeah.
And for them to, be exposed to lots of different, arts and sports and disciplines and things, and then to just support them and encourage them and really have it be of course, student and kid driven. You know, sometimes, you know, they talk about like stage parents and things. And I think it's really important that, of course, the kids love it and they're passionate about it.
Because that imagination
Yeah.
and the creativity,
Yeah.
doing the different voices and
Yeah.
building different things with your toys, what it does is it allows children to exercise parts of their brain that increase their neurodevelopment and increase their creativity.
Right.
And so those are just so critical. I love what you talked about regarding storytelling. And I also, it reminds me of like just story time in the classroom.
Yeah.
Children love reading. It's interesting because I actually just went a few months back for Read Across America. I was invited to be a guest reader.
Oh, nice.
And so I read to junior high students, and I didn't know
Oh, that's great.
if they were going to be interested, and they were so excited.
Yeah.
You know, I get to the classroom, you know what they said? Is that our guest reader? Is that our guest reader? They were so excited.
Oh, awesome.
And, but, you know, we see that even older children are connecting with story time
Absolutely.
and enjoy it.
Yeah, because it sparks imagination and it sparks creativity. And I always at my table at like Comic-Cons and events, I always have books. Like I like the little golden books because and typically like parents will buy it for their child and I'll put their name in it and then I'll say you can read to them and then they'll read to you, you know, down the road. And so I love encouraging reading and I think it's so important. Yeah.
Did Andy, did you have did young John have a favorite book growing up? My mom, I wanted to say this real quick. Shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
She loved reading
Yeah.
as a kid. And she instilled that passion in me, but her book was Charlotte's Web. Did you have a book like Charlotte's Web?
Yeah. So my mom always read to me like before bed. I'm so grateful she did that. And so, so many books. She had this series called The Value Books. And it was just all these different values. And we really liked that. And then she also, she read to us like The Giving Tree and The Magic Fish. And I think, and there was this book called, I think, I Love You Forever that she read. Yeah. So just these and so many other books, but those stand out.
Is there anything that you read today, you know, kind of in your free time?
Yeah, so actually, I listen to audiobooks, which I guess is reading, but it's it's listening. I and also I love to listen to them because I like to hear, of course, the voiceover and the performances. So I listened to the entire Chronicles of Narnia audiobook, which I really recommend. That was phenomenal. And now I'm listening to Lord of the Rings because I like fantasy genre. And yeah, so I'll listen to books. And it's great because you can listen while you're driving or on the treadmill or walking or, you know.
And I really think we're so spoiled these days to have that accessibility to the audiobooks, to storytelling like that.
Yes.
Podcasts, that's another thing where a lot of people connect with that too.
Yes,
today.
exactly. Absolutely. I will sometimes buy, like I also have the Lord of the Rings books, you know, printed because Tolkien also drew maps and drawings and things. So I like to have both, you know, the printed and listen.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
All right. A few more questions here. How did you balance school growing up with acting at a young age? And I mean, of course, you attended school throughout your childhood and then you were acting at the same time. How did you balance the two?
So voiceover actually was pretty easy because it either would be after school or my mom would take me out of school like you do for a doctor's appointment. So I just would leave for a half day or something. It was trickier when I did on-camera work because that's all day or even for a week or two or a month. So, and then you have a studio teacher. So that was a little bit trickier when I was doing on camera. And I just felt like I was missing school. I mean, I had the studio teacher who was great, but I would come back and feel like I had to catch up on what everyone was doing in a way, and just get back in the flow. But the voiceover, the sessions were just between 1 or 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just kind of after school.
Did you have a favorite subject growing up? Favorite thing that you learned?
Yeah.
History, math, science?
Yeah. So definitely like English, literature, history. In high school, I really liked art history, and languages. I studied Spanish mainly. And I find I actually use math a lot as an adult. Growing up, I wasn't as math and science minded, in school, but I really value it now, and I do use math a lot. But yeah, more the I guess humanities is what I was kind of drawn to growing up.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. It's interesting because English language arts, writing, again, storytelling,
yeah,
is so important too, because you get to exercise your imagination there too. You
Right.
get to connect with different characters.
right.
As an adult, did you have a favorite subject in school? You talked about Shakespeare as a young college student.
Yeah, so I actually I studied Shakespeare at UCLA. I was also lucky enough to go to London
Yeah.
and study Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So at the Globe and then at Oxford, I did a summer program. And then I also have been to OSF, so Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and seen some plays there. So I definitely passionate about Shakespeare as well, and kind of the universality of Shakespeare and how it can be said in different times, and it really fascinates me. Yeah.
We got to talk off camera about Shakespeare. I have
Okay,
a funny
yes.
Shakespeare story that I want to tell you
Nice, okay.
about. It is hilarious.
Great.
So yeah, we'll talk later. But
Yeah.
we have actually, believe it or not, just a few minutes left.
Okay, time flies.
We are flying here.
Yes.
All right, so here's the deal. At the end of the show, we have a tradition. We always give our guests a final word, and so it's an opportunity to share a story or a
Yeah.
final message or words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you'd like to share?
Oh gosh, so many things. But I get a lot of questions about like I'm interested in voice acting. What should I do? A lot of kids and teens and adults will ask me those questions at events, and so I want to just share about that as a professional voice actor. So I always tell folks to really start with training. So training is really important. Take classes, take workshops, take master classes, because you'll learn about voiceover as a field. You'll learn about the world of voiceover. You'll learn about the skills that you need to develop, which is important. So some studios I recommend are Voice One in San Francisco. They offer online and in person. Voice Tracks West in Southern California, and Voice Tracks in Sausalito here in Northern California are great. And they have, beginning, intermediate, advanced courses. They have, master classes with casting directors and agents and actors. And so those are really valuable. Sometimes people say to me, like, I should be a voice actor. I can create funny voices. It's like, okay, well, that's part of it, like discovering your range, but also it's voice acting. So you need to have that acting training.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of discipline, a lot of skill in taking a character, taking a script and bringing it to life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yes, stepping inside those characters' shoes, drawing on your personal experience and the emotions that you feel as a human.
Yeah.
To translate to your character.
And last question, I just wanted to ask you too, if our audience wants to follow you on social media or connect with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so the best place to do that is Instagram. So my handle is at John Charles Morris, all lowercase. And that's the best place because you can send me an email from there in the bio. You can request a cameo shout out. I always announce upcoming podcasts and events and Comic-Cons. So it's really kind of the hub for me.
And they could see where you're going to be next in case they want to connect with you.
Yeah. I now do events. I'm lucky enough to do events all over the world.
Yeah.
So
I think just talking to you, we were, by the way, we were connecting by phone and things like that.
Yeah,
and, I mean, you were traveling all over. I was too. I was in another country. We were trying to figure out how to connect.
I know. So so it's good to kind of track it, and folks can send me a DM if they have a question, and
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Likewise. Thank you.
And we definitely are. By the way, I don't know if I should brag about this, but we are annual pass holders. So you might really see us at
Okay, great.
Disneyland
Great.
someday.
Good for you.
So very
Yeah.
cool. You might see us and John there, or Andy at Disneyland. So
Yes.
we're definitely gonna have to do that.
Awesome.
But we just want to say again, thank you for being on the show today. It's been a lot of
thank
fun.
you. This has been wonderful.
And thank you to our viewers who've watched the show, who've liked, shared, commented, and subscribed. Please continue to do that. Spread the message about this fabulous episode with our wonderful guest today.
Aw.
This has been so much fun. And make sure to tune in, and we'll see you next time on the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.